So, in this little bottle, I have what is probably one of your most favorite smells in the whole world. And at the same time, it's probably one of your least favorite flavors. If I smell it, that is the smell of rain. A beautiful, fresh spring rain. The kind of rain that heralds abundance. It's the smell of a wet garden. But if I put a little bit of it on my hand and then taste it, that is the flavor of dirt, mud, grossness. What even is this?
But it's everything. It's rain, it's beetroot, it's cod.
That is Harry Sherwood, professional perfumer and PhD candidate in philosophy of perception at University of London. And Harry sent me this little bottle that contains the smell of rain. And beets, and codfish, apparently. It is geosmin. Sounds like I'm saying jasmine in slow motion, but I'm not. It is geosmin, and it's a real thing. Chemically, it is a bicyclic alcohol and a terpene, or actually I think it's a terpenoid because it has oxygen in it. And as is the case with many such terpenes and terpenoids from the food and drink world, we are very sensitive to this. We humans can detect the odor of geosmin at 0.4 parts per billion. In contrast, that is 25 times stronger than limonene, which is the big aromatic component in citrus, and it's at least 50 times stronger than vanillin. We are evolved to be very, very sensitive to geosmin. And if I could reach through your screen and have you sniff this right now, you would recognize it immediately. If you want to smell it yourself, wait until the weather has been dry for a while, and then when it finally rains, go outside and smell. That wonderful, rejuvenating smell is, at least partially, geosmin. Geosmin is a major component of a mixture of smells known as petrichor. Petra being Greek for stone, ichor being Greek for the ethereal blood of the gods. It's kind of a goofy word, but petrichor encompasses some other smells of rain, like the smells of oils created by plants that accumulate in the soil and then are aerosolized by rain, especially after it's been dry for a while. But arguably, the dominant smell within petrichor is geosmin, which is not made by plants. Geosmin is made by bacteria. It is a metabolite, or byproduct of bacterial metabolism. Here are some of the genera of bacteria known to produce a lot of geosmin, common in soil and water. Indeed, some of these are known as blue-green algae bacteria, even though they're technically not algae, they're bacteria, but anyway.
When they get wet from rain after a period of no rain, they release this molecule as a byproduct of their metabolism. This molecule is so strong that humans have evolved to detect it as signaling bounty and crops not dying and end of famine and end of drought and all this stuff. And it makes us happy in some really deep way.
It's a smell that signals the kind of bounty I have come to expect from HelloFresh, the sponsor of this video. Once every week or so, a box like this arrives at the front door, and inside is a bunch of grocery shopping I don't have to do. Perfect fresh vegetables and proteins in precisely the quantities necessary to execute the 6-step recipe cards included in said box. It's almost like they designed it that way. Look, I know how to cook, but I don't want to have to come up with a recipe every night, and I certainly don't want to go out and shop for it, and then come up with another recipe to use the leftover bits and bobs from the first recipe. There are no unused ingredients in a HelloFresh recipe, which is one reason why these meals are pretty sustainable, especially if you recycle the packaging. And if you have a goal to eat leaner or stop eating meat, eat less meat, whatever, HelloFresh has a meal plan for you. Those carrots are really good. All the recipes taste great. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code AdamRagusia16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. Link and code in the description for up to 16 free meals. Thank you, HelloFresh. So anyway, geosmin, the bacterial metabolite found in dirt that you smell when it rains. You probably love the smell.
It's a smell of puddles, a smell of jumping through puddles with welly boots on. It's amazing. But also, of course, because it's an aquatic thing, it's also the reason it's an off note. So it's great orthnasally. Retronasally, we don't like it.
Okay, I have to translate a little for Harry here. There are two basic ways that smells hit your schnoz: the orthonasal route and the retronasal route. Orthonasal olfaction is just normal smelling. You breathe through your nose, air containing smelly compounds is drawn into your nasal cavity where it hits your receptor neurons. When geosmin hits us orthonasally through the front end, we tend to love it. We tend to be kind of grossed out by it when it hits us retronasally, which is through the back end, when smells rise up through these pipes behind our nose, such as when we are chewing our food. That's retronasal olfaction.
We love it when we smell it outdoors as a signal of rain, but when we eat, for example, some river cod and it tastes muddy, it's because we're tasting geosmin. And most people don't like that.
River cod is a very British example. A more common example here in the United States would be something like catfish. Bad catfish and crawfish are often said to taste kind of muddy because of the geosmin in it. They're freshwater fish. Freshwater has a lot more geosmin than seawater does.
Or, for example, people who don't like beetroot often say it tastes muddy, and they ask if it's been washed.
Beetroot is British for beets. We just say beets in the United States. It'd be kind of like calling it potato root. Regardless, it all comes from the ground, and the bacteria that produce geosmin are in the ground, and so some of that gets into the food. And there's certain foods that tend to concentrate a particularly large amount of geosmin, and beets are one of them, but also certain greens like spinach and some lettuce. And if you ever think to yourself, this vegetable tastes like dirt, you aren't wrong. It is one of the primary aromatic components of dirt, geosmin. It just happens to be trapped inside the food in this case, instead of being on the surface where you can wash it off. And if you ever think to yourself, this makes no sense. This makes no sense that I would like a smell when it hits my nose from this direction, but not from this direction. That doesn't make any sense. Well, you'd be wrong about that. It totally makes sense, says science.
When there's something through your nose and your mouth is closed, that's a certain sort of perception. And we know that things smell different, because they've done some quite, not invasive studies, but they've done some quite interesting studies where they put a tube all the way to your back of your throat and pointing upwards. And they put you with a head screw so you can't move. And they basically give you molecule A through your nose or at the back of your throat. And they ask you, what is it? Or how intense is it? People give different answers, even though it's passing over the same cells. And in theory, it's giving the same signals. But what we now know is that there's a thing called multisensory integration. When you have tongue signals plus nose signals, we call that flavor. That's now well known. But your brain integrates that in a certain way that potentially gives different results in terms of emotion. So geosmin through nose plus nothing on tongue equals good. Geosmin through nose plus salty taste or whatever equals muddy fish.
The good news is there's nothing dangerous or bad about geosmin, at least not in the concentrations that you would encounter in earthy tasting food or drink, like water can often have the taste of geosmin. Potentially dangerous in high concentrations. I probably shouldn't have tasted it neat just now. Don't do as I do. And the next time you do get that flavor from food, you're probably going to think about all the yucky soil bacteria I just told you about, but try not to. Try to think of the enchanting spring rain that made all your food possible. It is, quite simply, the smell of life on Earth. Yeah.